Okay, welcome everybody to the 20th online mystery chocolate tasting. I'm so excited to be back. It's been 2 years since the last one, which is quite surprising. And I haven't spent a lot of time on Zoom, but I have a better quality camera setup. So for those of you who have just joined, I was explaining that I have a camera setup which is just recording. So anyone who couldn't make it today can only watch whoever's speaking. So that way you can freely do whatever you like on your screens without it going to people. But please do leave your screens on because it's nice to see people's faces and reactions. And then I have another computer set up where I'm logged in. You can see I'm the black screen, which says Jen, that's me, in amongst all the other people, and that's just here so that so when I'm looking down, I'm looking at your faces to see your reactions. So it's going to make it look a little bit weird. And then my phone is set up with a camera next to my computer. So, right. Welcome. The first thing I want to do, I'm going to share my screen as we go. So as you will have seen, we have 10 chocolates. 2 of them are much smaller. They're the first 2 that we're going to be trying. I just couldn't help myself and I had to choose more. So I'm really excited about all of these chocolates. There were so many chocolates that I was excited about, and narrowing it down was very difficult, but I tried to pick ones that had enough difference from one another. So we've got quite a bit of representation from across the world, from beans from different places, some makers that are tree to bars. So what I mentioned before about cocoa farmers and chocolate makers, same company. And yeah, you'll see more will be revealed, but I'm going to first show you a picture, unfortunately in very good order, but share my screen. Oh, first I need to make sure that it's only showing you the right one. Okay. Oh, where'd my Zoom thing go? Okay. Why can't I see you all? Where's Zoom gone? Okay, there we go. Sorry. Sharing my screen. Okay, here's my hastily put together PowerPoint presentation. So this is, have you all got your chocolates looking currently something like this with some scissors to get into them? Sorry that they're not in the order that I didn't take them in. I didn't know what order we were going to taste them in exactly. And I didn't line them up. I took this photo quite quickly. So you should have 4 strips of chocolate. And there's one strip that has a pink chocolate in it. That's the last strip we're going to taste. So you can kind of just put that to the side for now. And that one is conveniently in 8, 9, 10 in order with the pink one at the bottom. So that should be helpful. The one with the red dot in the center is the one we're going to taste first. And sorry. And number 2 is next to that. It should be at the end, which has the better seal, the bottom of the bag. And then annoyingly, we go then to the yellow sticker for 3 and 4, back to the red sticker strip for number 5. And then the green sticker strip is for 6 and 7. I should have put a lot more stickers on, I'm sorry. Does this make sense? And does anyone have any questions? No questions? I want to see all your faces. I'm going to look at a different view on this screen. Gallery. I don't want side by side. I just want the gallery. Well. That's better. Now I see you all. Okay, so are you ready to taste? I realize that 10 chocolates across an hour doesn't give us a lot of time, and I've got chocolate makers who want to talk, but does anyone have to rush off at 9 o'clock? I guess you can catch it on replay if we go over, which won't go up until Friday because I'm not at home at all tomorrow. But okay, so we're going to start with chocolate number 1, but I'm just seeing if the chocolate maker, he said he might not be able to join us. He's currently on a farm with some people, so on a cocoa farm. Okay, so I'm going to join you. So you'll see this chocolate is a little bit more scuffed because this is a sample chocolate that we got to include. So This one in particular, very important when it comes to tasting. I know it's quite small. It might be a bit difficult to actually break it, but really just have a little nibble of it to begin with. I know it's small anyway, so you feel like, well, what else can you do? Not much more to nibble. I'm going to taste along with you, by the way. So I didn't explain the tasting wheel. I'm sorry, that was part of what I was supposed to do in those first 15 minutes. Sorry. Um, this tasting wheel is what a chocolate maker might use. And in this case, he would consider that each of these spokes was a rating. Well, that each of these words around the outside, the optional flavors, was a rating from 0 to 10. And so then they look at the word on the outside and decide whether it was full, very, very intense, they put a dot there, and then they decide, and if they couldn't taste it at all, there'd be a dot there. So you'd end up with this pattern of dots, because it is entirely possible to have a chocolate that tastes both like bread dough and like whiskey or mead, for things on opposite sides. And then their aim would be the next time they made a batch of chocolate that if they did the same tasting profile, it would look the same. For you tasting it at home, or when you're actually just tasting a chocolate that you bought for the first time, the best thing is to start at the center and just to be like, yeah, I think this is a bit spicy or a bit roasted or a bit fruity or both, or three. So if anyone wants to try and just choose what they think they're tasting based on those broader things, I'd love to hear it. If you specifically have something that this reminds you of and you want to tell me, then that's amazing too. So please do share your thoughts. And now I've seen that someone has shared some thoughts. Just some smiley faces. Cheese, smoke, cool. So the salty, it does taste kind of salty. Bitter, woody. It does almost taste unroasted. I find it tastes a bit alcoholic to me as well. I don't know if anyone else is getting that. Okay, someone's guessing 100% dark, astringent, and roasted. So yeah, anyone else want to guess in terms of percentages? Do we agree with Natasha? Quite mineral. It is quite mineral. 95, 90. Very dark, 100%. Subtle spice. Yeah. So what I would say, if you have just tried a little bit, and you stuck to just a little bit, do have another nibble of it, because what's really interesting is with anything that's bitter or astringent, the first taste, those things are quite overpowering, but then your body kind of habituates to it, your palate habituates to it and stops making you aware of it. So I understand this to be evolutionarily, like something bitter might kill you. So, but if you keep consuming it, then it's like, okay, we've given you the warning, tough luck. And they stop. It's like when you walk into a room and you smell something really strongly, and if you stay in the room, you stop paying attention to it. But if you walk out and come back in, so it's the same thing with bitterness. If you drink black coffee or red wine or hoppy beers, the next time you do, you'll probably notice the same thing, where the first sip is like, why do I drink this stuff? And then you keep going, and then you get all of the other different aromas and flavors that you get from the good quality versions of those. Okay, so the most of you are correct. This is a 100% chocolate. But you can definitely say leather, and I can totally see the leather in that. It's I think so. This being a 100% chocolate, you do often get the kind of tasting notes that you have all described. So those kind of like more earthy, woody, leather, spicy kind of notes. So just adding sugar can open up those flavors and change it. And unfortunately, it would have been really fun to have given you the same chocolate with more sugar added, but I didn't, because I didn't have that opportunity. But part of the reason that I wanted to include this chocolate is one, because I think it's fun for people who haven't tasted 100%, or even that haven't tasted it recently, to try it again. But the main reason is actually because it is the cocoa beans are from Ghana. And so for those of you who aren't kind of chocolate geeks, then Ghana and the Ivory Coast basically produce 70 to 80% of all the cocoa in the world. So pretty much all the bulk cocoa. So everything that you find in supermarkets confectionery, most of that comes from Ghana. It's all bulk cocoa, or the Ivory Coast, sorry. So there's kind of a conception that you don't get good quality cocoa out of Ghana or the Ivory Coast. I mean, people do know that that's not true, but it's much less common. And so I think it might have been Ian that put in a request for for African chocolate. So I saw this, I'm like, this is exciting. So this is I will show you on the screen. Probably should have come back to me rather than the, well, that was just to help, and I didn't even put it up there. So this is Three Mountains cocoa, and that is Leslie in the picture. So I've written notes so I get everybody's surname correctly as well. Correct. So this is Leslie's business, and he actually just wanted to make a really good quality hot chocolate that wasn't sweet and sickly, and in the process, just through connections in Ghana, he realized that he could do a lot more with creating a cooperative. So in 2020, he created this cooperative of local farmers, and now buys their cocoa at a premium, but also works with them to plant trees and shade trees. So it's all done in an agroforestry kind of planting process. And in so in 22, there was the first the regeneration started in 2021, and then in 22 was the first sale of the cocoa from everything that they'd done. And then they also donated another 20,000 hardwood trees. So they have advisory sessions, and they work with supporting with organic certification and all of the methods for making everything organic as well. So at the moment, he's not selling bars of chocolate. He's just selling beans. So this is made for him to demonstrate what the cocoa bean would taste like for craft chocolate makers. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Oh yes, thanks for sharing that, PS. So the other thing that's really interesting about chocolate, and why it's good to like kind of pause without rinsing your mouth out or going straight onto the next chocolate, is that the chocolates that win awards go through a flavor journey, which sounds very pretentious, but the first flavor is often different to the middle flavor and different to the final flavors. So that like floral and delicate. So once you stop kind of paying attention to the intensity of the fact that it's got no sugar in it at all, you might start to appreciate those other flavors as well. And so if you did have a second bite, hopefully you noticed that it was more delicate, but also that trying to figure out how to also that it was it might have had a different flavor at the end as well. So are we ready for second chocolate? Yes. So just to assist, I've written some notes for each of the chocolate. So the second chocolate is in the same strip, and it's the other one, it's the one next to the red dot that's smaller, so smaller in quantity. Is that helpful? Anyone not clear, feel free to just mention it in the chat. I'm going to close that for a moment so that I can come back to the center. So I'm going to taste this one with you again. Probably should have had you tasting it while I was telling you about flavors and aftertastes, because I don't need a minute for anybody to notice any tastes yet. So if you have any questions, please do let me know. It's like chocolates are one thing where it's okay to talk with your mouth full, because you actually want the air to flow through your mouth at the same time. That's what I'm telling my mum when she sees these videos anyway and tells me off. So I think it is the lower one. I can let me just go back to the picture. Yeah, it's the one at the bottom of the bag, the one that's got a nice neat seal versus the one that you can tell that I sealed. Oh wow, that's so good. And he's just like, yay, sugar. Fruity and berries. I'd agree with that. Caramel plum, cherry molasses. Yes. Mhm. Sweet cherry. So yeah, start giving me your percentages. Also maple syrup. Yeah, I see that too. Okay, 70, 70. Tastes like Black Forest Gatto. 60, 85, 90, and 70. It's so hard to tell, right? Okay. So what I didn't ask is, I'm gonna look at your faces now. So did anyone like hands up if you liked the first one? It's totally okay if you didn't, because it's a bit brutal, especially to start with. A couple of ways. Okay, that's cool. I do encourage you if you haven't finished it. I know it's a small piece, but do try it again. First thing in the morning tomorrow, or close to the first thing, because also the earlier we taste things that are intense like that, the more likely we are to like them. Having it like after dinner is a bit like, oh, that's not dessert. Your body's like, no, I don't want that. So do try it again. But so this next one, hands up if you liked it. Yay! I'm seeing most of hands. There are a couple of people on the call who don't have the chocolate, so and so they don't even know what you're tasting. So I'm going to say that's why not everybody's got their hands raised, not because they don't like it. So um, it is. Oh, sorry, I'll go back to sharing the screen so that you can share screen. So this is actually an 80%. I know. I know. So what I mean, you can have an 80% chocolate that's really delicate. Case in point. Share. So this is not, so this is it. So this is cocoa beans are from Nigeria, and Mario is on the call. I don't know if you want to come off mute and tell us anything about the chocolate, because you'll be able to speak about it better than I will.
Hello, do you understand me?
Perfectly.
Perfect. Yeah, it's 80% of 80% cocoa beans, Nigeria, two ingredients. So cocoa beans and sugar. And it's from a cooperative in Akure. Akure is a little bit the cocoa region of Nigeria. And there I work together with Springboard. And actually, it's a very nice cacao. And also in Amsterdam, we had a lot of people that tasted the chocolate for the first time, and they were actually very surprised. Me as a chocolate maker, I make chocolate here in Bruges in Belgium, but I teach also small chocolate makers or different cooperatives around the world how to make chocolate. So that's how I get in contact with this very nice project of Nigeria. And actually next week, I will go back for 2 weeks to Nigeria to start a big chocolate factory there. So I hope people in this chat enjoyed the chocolate, because I like it also a lot.
So I should say, actually, this wasn't even my favorite of Mark's chocolates. And obviously it's really good, but he had other ones that were like incredible. And they had some really interesting fermentation protocols as well. But at this point, I didn't know that I was going to have the Ghanaian chocolate, and I was really excited by the quality. And I'd rarely have had Nigerian chocolate made from Nigerian cocoa beans. So I thought for a lot of you who've tried lots of chocolate before, it'd be really interesting to try some Nigerian cocoa in chocolate.
Yeah.
Glad
The
you
last
liked
thing
it.
that I want to say is actually, like you mentioned also, it's all about good post-harvest or good fermentation. And if you do a good fermentation, it is not only the country, but the most important thing is what the farmers after the harvest do. And you can make almost miracles with the cacao if you do a good fermentation. And then the chocolate maker just has to don't ruin all the fermentation and just do a nice roasting and a nice making, and then you can make a nice chocolate.
And that is very true, and hopefully what you'll
All
see
right.
more of. Thank you, Mario. So Mario was a chocolatier and a pastry chef at Michelin-starred restaurants as well before now. His main job, apart from making these great chocolates, is to teach people and go around and consult and improve their processes in the chocolate factory. So he's pretty expert at what he does. I nearly pressed the end button then. Whoops, sorry. Okay, so let's I'll share my screen again so you know which one you're going to taste, because now we're switching to a different, and I've already forgotten how to describe it to you. So this is, oh, sorry, excuse my yellow. The strip that has the yellow dot on it. So it's the largest chocolate that's next to that. I'll go back to the whole set just to make it clear. So the yellow one has just 2 chocolates on it. Is that clear? Okay. Just I had a horrible thought, but I'm not sure if I gave password. I'm sure I did, to all the chocolate makers. I haven't seen this chocolate maker on the call yet, so unless they're hiding. No. Okay. Anyway, too late now because my phone's stuck there. Right. So go ahead and start tasting it. I will email you all the list with all the chocolates. Unfortunately, they're not really easy to buy, which is part of why it's fun to join this. I wanted to make them not easy to buy so that it would be a proper experience for you all. But yeah, I'm sure where there's a will, there's a way. So I will send you a list of everything. Okay, so largest chocolate next to the thing. I'm going to stop that sharing now. Anyone having any questions, just put them in the chat. Oh, you didn't get the password. It was written on the sheet. So yeah, don't feel like you have to write anything on the sheet of paper, but I think I wrote it. Yeah, there we go. But I'm glad you found it. Don't feel like you have to write notes, but it's all that way. Whoops, sorry, I'm using this camera, aren't I? But it's fun. And then it'll be interesting if you do leave some to look at your notes after you've tasted it the next time. Right, third chocolate. I had to get one that's was sealed. Maybe some pine. You made me to smell it.
I'm sorry, we don't know which one it is.
Okay, so it is the one that doesn't have the yellow sticker on it, but that's the right section.
Thank you.
Sorry. Definitely should have used more. Definitely should have used more stickers. Sorry. The burnt bottom crust of toast. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Coconut rose, grapes rose. Hops. Nice. Do you like it? Let me look at the screen. Some slightly less slightly less enthusiastic, I think. Okay. 75. Yeah, bring on the guesses of percentage. 75, 55. Vanilla creme fraiche. Yeah, I get that. You love it. Yay, some enthusiasm. What I love is like not only around like what we're tasting is personal, but whether or not you enjoy it, it's going to be personal as well. It is quite, yeah, I did get the toast. I'm loving reading this. I'm really upset if I forgot to give the chocolate maker the password. Let me just it's gonna be too late, isn't it? Let me just double check 1 second. Oh no, it's not in Instagram, it's in okay, sorry. He hasn't sent anything, so oh, what's going on? All right. Back. Yay, sorry. And she's back. Just a bit wonky now. That's what I was afraid of. Oh, not going to be straight. I'll fix that in a minute. Okay, so 75, 65, 85. WhatsApp them. Yeah, I was on WhatsApp with them, but they haven't sent me a message, so they can't be here. So that's probably not the problem. It is a 75%. So well done to those of you who guessed that. It's this, we've switched countries again. So this is a Brazilian chocolate. I have the packet in front of me. So this is a gold and silver and bronze. This is what I mean. Taste is personal. It's won both gold, silver, and bronze in different awards. Has anyone heard of this brand before, Miss Teacher? I think I'm saying that correctly. It is. It's a quite an old brand, but sorry. Let me. So they're third generation cocoa farmers. So Rogerio, is the third generation, and he spent 20 years working in the automobile industry, and then he came back to help out on the farm because it was really challenging to try and make money at bulk cocoa prices. So he oh yeah, there we go. And what's particularly interesting, as you can see now, is that it's an anaerobic fermentation. So this will be better explained by the picture on the next page. So there's Rogelio, and that is the farm. And this is the fermentation. So if you remember the picture that I showed you with
You're
the
not
wooden
sharing your
crates.
screen, Jen.
Pardon?
We can't see the picture. You're not sharing your screen.
Thanks. Sorry. The share screen. Sorry. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Said it's been a while since I'd used Zoom. So that is the packaging again. And then this is the farm, Rogerio, and this is the fermentation tanks. So this is a relatively new experiment in cocoa. So what I mentioned I met Rogerio at Salon du Chocolat last year, and that was part of the reason that I wanted to put on this tasting after the next chocolate festival I went to. And I was really glad that he was there because it was so interesting to me. So if you know anything about coffee and the process of making coffee, that they've been doing anaerobic fermentation in coffee for a while. And so the chocolate makers wanted to see what it would do for cocoa as well, or cocoa farmers working together. So most of his fermentation is still done in the wooden crates, which you can see actually next to the bucket. And they're actually put into water. So they go in purple and they come out purple, and they only go brown after drying. But this is all the CO2 being released. So it goes into these bottles are just filled with water so that the CO2 doesn't go back into the bucket. But this process takes about 15 days, so it's quite a lot longer. And what it means is it's an entirely alcoholic fermentation. So anaerobic, just in case it goes over your head like it might, is without oxygen. So typically the first 2 days of fermentation in the traditional style is sort of semi-anaerobic in that they'll pile all the beans together and cover them with banana leaves, and they won't touch them for 2 days. And then they start intentionally putting oxygen into them. So by turning them, it's mainly to make it an even fermentation so that the things on the bottom aren't over fermented and the top isn't under fermented, but it also gets oxygen in, and then you get an acidic fermentation as well, which gets more kind of lactic and dairy notes to it. So yeah, it's really interesting. Unfortunately, I would have bought both versions, but he didn't have with him at Chocoa the same beans that weren't done with an anaerobic fermentation. So otherwise I would show you the difference. But I thought it was interesting to now know that you've tried one. And if you ever try one again, if you keep your notes, you can compare and see how much of the taste is due to the anaerobic fermentation. I'm sorry that Rogerio is going to join us and talk to us a bit more about it. He might join later, and then we can bring him back in. Okay, so next chocolate, unless anyone has anything to add, is the one with the yellow sticker. Yay, so that should be easy. The one directly next to that. I'm going to stop sharing again for a bit. easier to see. See if I can straighten myself up so I don't make you all seasick. No, I don't think I can. Yeah, it's just going to keep going walking. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Okay, next chocolate, next chocolate. Raisins. Mm. Enjoying this. Yellow sticker, yes. I love that so many people have said raisins. It's really super juicy and acidic in a good way. Sherbet, yes, sherbet. Tart, spicy, fruity, prune, fig. I love it when people give me suggestions. I'm like, yes, that's it. I'm so easily led. When I used to work at M&S as a buyer, we did a food day with the technical and the food development people, and we all sat around the table and we all got sent white wine to taste, and we wrote our tasting notes, and then we got sent a red wine after that, and we wrote our tasting notes, and then we found out that they were both the same wine, and one had food coloring, and yet the red wine had notes of blackcurrant and oak and all these things that we would normally associate with red wine. So yeah, even people who work in the industry get led. Raspberry and yuzu, 6% prune. Oh, I love these. Contro. Oh, these are fantastic. I love reading this. I'm guessing you like it. Those sound like good, positive words. Okay, I really love this chocolate. So this is a gold award-winning chocolate. So as was the last one, but this is like gold all round. Yes, cascade of flavor. I love that. So this is Mexican beans. I'll go back to sharing my screen so I can show you the packaging. And we have the chocolate maker on the call. Do you want to come off mute and tell us about it, Mark? You don't have to. There we go. Sorry, excuse the picture. I just had the packaging left because I took the photos after I sent out the chocolate in this case. So this is a 2023 gold. So this is a micro batch, as it says, well, a nano lot, so even smaller, which means it's going to be even extra difficult to get this. Basically, so I think it's 50 kilos. Is this one of the beans? Might be a little more that Mark was provided, and obviously did wonders.
Yeah. Am I there? Yes. Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry.
Amazing.
Hello, everybody.
Now we've got you. I'll stop sharing.
Oh, no problem. Hi, everybody. Yeah, you were tasting for me a really special bar. I'm a chocolate maker for 12 years now. I'm a former pastry chef. Do everybody hear me? Yes. I think so. All right. I'm a former pastry chef. I work in a lot of restaurants, always washing chocolate out of the dishes. That's how I started. What I mentioned was every chef buys the same chocolate. You have to add different flavors, different shapings to create an own piece of bonbon or dessert or that kind of things. So 12 years ago, I was diving into the cocoa bean stuff, start making my own chocolate. So I want to stay close at the origin. The origin is for me, it's a rock star. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working together with Finca La Rioja, where the beans are from, since I think around 2014 or 15, and he was doing a lot of experimental fermentation. Here we go again about fermentation, but it's what Mario also mentioned. It's a big part of the cocoa flavor, because after fermenting there is cocoa flavor. So And the cool thing about this bar, it's mentioned Don Moses on it, the guy who's running the fermentation and the fermentation area, and also the plantation. His grandfather started this plantation with old with some new trees from Belize, Guatemala, and the southern of Mexico. And these are the oldest trees. And every year there's only 3 bags of beans from this. And I'm super happy to work together with this. And what I like about this cacao, when I first tasted it after chocolate making, for me it was, I don't know if you know it in England, but there's a chupa chup kind of a sour flavor popping up, and that's where I'm looking at, because ordinary chocolate, it's only bitter, it's because it's over processed, a lot of sugar and that kind of thing. So I'm always looking for this kind of fruity snaps, and I think it's really there. I read raspberry yuzu, that nice. So I hope you like it. And it's Jen, the next bar, is it Wietzla? Sorry. Oh, I can't
okay,
say
so in the
anything
next
about
one
it yet.
the next one that we're going to
Sorry.
taste is, let's move on to the next one. Thank you so much, Mark. He's underselling himself. He was the head pastry chef at a 2 Michelin star restaurant before he switched to chocolate making 11 years ago. So he definitely knows what he's doing. So the the next one that we're going to taste is the one that was in the original strip that had the red dot. So you tried the other 2 chocolates in that strip. So hopefully you kept it somewhere where you would be able to tell. Is that clear?
Sorry?
Sorry. I could go back to the picture if that helps. Let me share my screen. Okay, so here's my description. So it was the dark chocolate in the same row as the one with the red dot sticker, the opposite end. But I'll go back to the so this one here. You might have some words on it, but you might not, depending on where I cut it. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing that. So go ahead and start tasting if you haven't already. Sorry, Laura. Bye. Yeah, are you all tasting? It's all clear? A good snap. Didn't smell it, did I? So don't even follow my own instructions. And the thing you'll know is that can't smell anything. Once you've got the chocolate in your mouth, it's too late. Earthy coffee nuts. Right, yes, right. Hazelnut. Memories of, I love these. I love your descriptions. These are brilliant. Nicer companion. I'm curious, what do you mean by companion, the previous one? Tastes like how I think chocolate tastes. Hey. I love these. Okay, so you might have guessed from my little exchange with Mark there is this is also Mark's chocolate. So this one is the packaging. Also a gold award winner. Basically everything Mark makes gets a gold award though. So it's that's nice. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
Nice, 40%. Now um this is a cool thing. What I mentioned, I work close together with the guy who's fermenting, and he's always experimenting and talking about a micro lot or nano lot. This is only one bag, 60 kilos. So
Oh, this is the one
for
bag. Yeah.
this is the one bag. It's totally sold out after Chocoa. What's going on? It's fermented on the same area. This is growing 15 kilometers abroad. I don't know, 10 miles, how we call it. 10 miles next to the plantation where the previous bar cacao was growing. And this is completely the other the other side of how cacao tasted, and it's completely the opposite. But I like what you were saying about this, because and I think it's a nicer companion. It's more comfy to eat. This is how people like to sit down, relax, and eat a chocolate bar in my way. It's caramelly. It's yeah. I'm not going into these kind of flavors because I also made bars for the Japanese market, and they have a total other perception of what is a strawberry like, or what are their memories back in the day. So yeah, but think about it. It's just about fermentation. It's about genetics, and yeah, there's a lot of difference. It's close together, but a totally different bar. So yeah.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you. That was number 5. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, we're halfway through. I think I said this was going to be longer than an hour. So hopefully you didn't have just until 9 in your calendar. The percentage, they were both 70%. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So both
Yes.
70%. Yeah, Mark's chocolates are all amazing, but yeah, that's something that's completely sold out. So yeah, savor those little tiny bit that you all got. It is so cool. So yeah, like so nearby to each other, but tasting so different. So yeah, this is like, yeah, such a super cool set of chocolate, I think. Okay, so the next chocolate, you have 2 together that have a green dot, and they both look kind of similar. And the one we're going to taste first is the one that doesn't have the green dot. So if you look at them, you should see that one of them has, the one with the green dot might have bits in it. So that's not the one we're tasting now. We're tasting the other one. That makes sense? I will, perhaps I can share my screen for a second just in case anyone needs a reminder. So this is number 6, so not the green dot, the one next to it. Okay, so when you want to share your thoughts. But this chocolate maker doesn't speak a lot of English, so he's not on the call. Bitter prune, raspberry whiskey, pink grapefruit, tropical fruit bitter. So fruity, tobacco. I'm reading these out for anyone who's watching the playback. I'm not sure they'll get the chat come up or not. Yes, it's surprisingly sour. I hope I'm reading the right. I don't know. A little softer as well. I don't know if anyone noticed the texture. Yes, you did. Sorry, I probably said that after you wrote it. It's quite an acidic aftertaste, yeah. So this one is super exciting, I think. Does anyone want to guess the percentage of this? Sound, 80. Okay. So this is kind of confusing, and I can't actually tell you. Well, it'll make sense in a second. I'll just show you the packaging here rather than sharing my screen. So this is the brand. Oh, sorry, it's not in focus. This is another Brazilian chocolate company that are Trita Bar as well. Actually, I don't. No, I'm not sure they own all of their trees. I think they get cocoa beans from various places as well. They're an incredibly experimental company. So they had a ton of different flavors at Chocoa. And then that wasn't even it was only a small percentage of all the different flavors that they make. So Rogerio from
Share the screen as well, please. Sorry, it's so difficult to see otherwise, but it is.
I'll share. I was just going to. Sorry. Yeah, thanks. Let me, because there's more to tell you because it wasn't showing, but let me get to it. Okay, this is it. So this is 100%, but that includes what they call miel de cacao. So they've taken the fruit that's around the cocoa, this is around the cocoa seeds, and then sort of cooked it down into a syrup, and then they have mixed it in. So that's why it has a soft texture in comparison, because it's still quite hard to completely dehydrate the cacao. Just in case anyone needs a visual again. This is the fruit that's around the cocoa pods. I just thought this was so interesting to taste. What do you think? Do you like it? Have you tasted anything like that before? So Laura's nodding. Some of you might be aware that Calabo, who are basically the biggest chocolate company in the world, that make they sell their premium stuff that they sell to Harrods, and then they have under their umbrella, and then they have very, very, very bulk, terrible cocoa that they put into lots of confectionery. But generally they're like mid to high range, and or considered that. But they have a whole fruit chocolate that they brought out maybe 4 years ago, where they took the fruit, turned it into a sugar, and then made it into chocolate. And so they sent me some, and it was enjoyable, but it was a bit worthy, which is in some ways a bit like this. It's like, it's quite sour and it's quite intense. But this is much more interesting in flavor, for me at least, than it's just better quality cocoa beans being used, I think, is the biggest difference. All the polyphenols is 100% a health food, yes. It's Brazil, this one as well. So like the mestizo, the anaerobic one, it is also from Brazil. So they're friends. If you want to go ahead now and taste the next one, feel free to rinse your mouth out if you want. You don't have to. I don't always. When I say rinse your mouth out, like have a swig of your hot water. It's not 100% necessary, but and so the one that we're tasting next is the one directly next to that green sticker. So the other one that's a strip, the one with the bits in it. I was really trying to cut this to make sure you all got bits. Wow. So nice to see all your faces or names. Pineapple. Is that your guess at the bits? Candied mango. And what do you think of the chocolate around it as well? Oh, chamomile pineapple weed. I don't, but I want to know. Yes, I'll read out more of them. I've gone too far back. Sorry, I forgot that I was going to try and read them for people who are not on the call. So we got pineapple, mango, papaya, mango, coconut, ginger, Not sure if that's the ingredients or the taste. Chamomile, pineapple weed, candied cocoa fruit, cacao pulp bits. Pineapple weed vodka is amazing. How do I find this? Smooth and silky. Okay, so Sarah and on Hampstead Heath. Okay. Oh, wild chamomile, which is a weed, and when you squash it, smells like pineapple. So Sarah and George are correct. It is cacao, pulpa de cacao pulp. So it's a 70% cocoa. I'll go to this. I'll share the screen in a second. 70%. So this has sugar in it, and then it has candied cocoa pulp. So but I've never had candied cocoa pulp in chocolate before. I've had candied cupuaçu, which is a relative of Theobroma cacao is the Latin name, like the botanical name for cocoa. And then there's a Theobroma cupuaçu, which is a similar looking, it's like rounder pods, and it also has seeds, and you can make chocolate out of that, or a version of chocolate out of it, but it's quite soft and it's really not the same thing. But it has a lot more pulp, and so they candy that pulp and in Brazil quite a lot and put it into chocolate bars. And Casa Vicious have another version of their bars that did have the cupuaçu pulp in it as well. But this is the first time I've seen a company using actual candied cacao pulp, because most varieties don't actually have a lot of pulp. Some do, which is how we get cacao pulp drinks now. But yeah, most don't. So this is quite unusual and rare. So I thought it would be interesting to let you kind of taste the fruit. If you can pick it out of the chocolate, you can kind of taste it. Did you like it? I always like inclusions, especially if they're fruity or nutty. Cool. Right. Moving on to our 8th chocolate. Oh, I should have kept the screen shared so you know which one it was. Let me go back. And remind myself as well. I think we're on the last strip now, aren't we? Yeah, 8, 9, 10. So this one should be quite straightforward to figure out which one is which. So we are tasting. Sorry. Don't think you might have seen that. So this is the one at the top of the strip. So the pink's at the bottom. We're going to start at the top and then taste the next one and then the one after that. This is why I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to do another one of these tastings. Like trying to make sure that I put everyone's in the correct order was, yeah. And weighing them so like I didn't run out of chocolate as well was kind of a bit stressful. Yeah. So I hope you'll like this chocolate. Oh, we start reading alcoholic. Yes, it is. So for those of you who I sent some without alcohol, I'll explain what yours is afterwards. But the tasting notes that people are writing here will potentially not all be talking about the same thing. Thanks, Laura. Licorice candy, malt, like cherry kirsch. Yes, it does taste like a grown-up version of those little alcoholic bonbon things. I agree. Oh, we're on the final strip of chocolate that has a pink one at the bottom. We're tasting the one at the top, the opposite end to the pink. So if that's the 8th chocolate, then the 9th one, and then the final one is the pink one. So Kirsch, espresso martini, whiskey and butterscotch, 75%. Yeah, who wants to send some more? It does smell like an espresso martini and like Kirsch. How could it smell like so many things? I haven't even tasted it yet. It's just all from the smell. I'm agreeing with you all. A Nordic herbal vodka. Oh, I love this. So who'd like, you've got one guess at 75%, another at 75, 80. So like malty and vanilla-y. Dustiness in a good way. I know. I mean, it's like walking into a distillery. Like it feels like when you go to yeah, like a big barn with a distillery, that kind of like muskiness. The taste one musky actually. Yum, good. Yeah, I had this. So they did it at Chocoa. I arrived at lunchtime on Friday, and just in time for what was called a chocolate makers sharing session. And so chocolate makers were encouraged to bring a bar that they wanted other people to try, either for feedback on it or just to kind of show off, I guess, in a nice way, like just to kind of say, this is what I'm doing. And there was bars from all around the world, flavor bars, non-flavor bars, and they let me crash, which was amazing. And it was fascinating, like the questions that people would ask each other about, like, was it cane sugar or beet sugar, and fermentation, and what grinding machine, and what roasting time and temperature, like the details of the questions that the chocolate makers were asking were fascinating. And I wrote notes on the bars as I was tasting them. And when I got to this one, I wrote, I want to buy this one. That was my note. But then I like found out some more. So this is a 70% chocolate, so a little lower than what most of you guessed. And it is made by a company called Earle in the Philippines, who are a treater bar chocolate company, but also have chocolate cafes as well. So they do like the whole chain. They make bonbons too, so they do every single thing. Farm cocoa. They I don't think they spend a lot of time working in the farms, but they do have some family farms, and they work with other family farms as well. I will share it for you so you can see it. And this is their Don Papa rum. So basically, Don Papa sent them some rum. And then because they were given the rum for free initially, they just used a liter of rum to a kilo of beans. And then it was amazing. And so they tried to sell it. They put it for sale, and it just got snapped up. So they're like, I guess we better keep doing this. So it started as a limited edition, but now they make it all the time. And after it's like submerged in barrels, plastic barrels. And then they have to dehydrate the beans again. The nibs, sorry, it's after the beans have been winnowed and broken into pieces, and then winnowed, roasted, and broken into pieces. So it's roasted nibs that go into the barrel with the rum, and then they have to be dried again before. You don't want any moisture in when you're making a chocolate bar; it could go moldy. So they have to be like in an oven at a low heat for a couple of hours to evaporate all of the liquid. And so yeah, it's basically incredibly expensive to make. It's one of the more expensive bars, but I also think it's one of the ones they have a lower margin on than their other bars, just because there's a limit to how much you can charge for a chocolate bar. But yeah, I love it. So they said that there's like liquid remaining after they drain, after they remove all of the cocoa nibs, but they can use about 10% again. They can reuse about 10%, but then they have to top up with fresh rum for the next batch. But yeah, I love this one. So for those of you who didn't have this one, if I didn't send you alcohol, I also sent you a chocolate from Earle, but it was an 85%. So when I send an email, I can send you some tasty notes if you're interested, but in the interest of time, I won't go through it at the moment, but the packaging looks very similar. So Earle is founded by two university friends who both grew up in the Philippines, but they met in that's them in the picture there. That is Mark and Kelly, and this is their chocolatier whose name I've forgotten. Sorry. So Mark and Kelly met at the University of Chicago, and Mark was studying robotics, and then he moved to study art and design, and then Kelly was studying politics, and then she went to political science, and then she went to international relations, and then she went to study at Le Cordon Bleu. So they have really differing like skill sets and like styles, and it just really works together. They have so many products. They have like 600 different products across their shops as well. But yeah, I definitely now want to go to the Philippines to try it. And they the name Oro, it was originally ORO, like the Spanish and Filipino word for gold, but it was already trademarked, so they changed it to AU, which is also the chemical symbol of gold. So actually works out quite nicely. So yeah, that is the 8th chocolate. The next one is the one next to that. So the final dark looking chocolate does have a really creamy finish. Yeah, I just found that so eatable. I don't particularly like rum. Don't really like alcohol that much at all, but with the chocolate, it was really good. Misspent youth. It's yeah, it's things taste different in different contexts, I think. So just if you, even though you have just been drinking rum, Natasha, it's not necessarily going to taste the same. All right, so the last two chocolates, so there should be a little, yeah, cool, roses, strawberry cream, cherries, you're already on it, excellent. Well done, everybody. Smells like medicine. Yeah, I get that. Cloudberry, cherry berry, rose. Strawberry, cherry. It does. Strawberry creams, violets, cherries, strawberry cherry ice cream. It should exist. Yeah, when I had this, it reminded me of Quality Street in a nice way. The kind of chocolate creams like filled with the fondant that was kind of often because it's an artificial flavor in the chocolate fondants that I had as a child. They're kind of like really difficult to tell whether it's strawberry or raspberry or rose or not. Yeah, growing up posh Quality Street, but it was very nostalgic, so I really liked it. I will tell you, it is it's not actually strawberry, although I agree that it does taste a lot like strawberry. It is a raspberry, but it is raspberry plus lemon, which is, I think, perhaps why it doesn't really taste like, I don't know. Maybe there's more in common with a strawberry when you add lemon to raspberry. And it's also vodka as well. I don't know if the vodka, vodka doesn't have much taste, but it was part of a range that this business did. 60%. Any more guesses for percentages? A part of a range that this company does that was all cocktails. So there was a pisco sour, which I was tempted to get you, but I just thought this one tasted nicer. So yes, I agree. So Laura said that the concept of strawberry and raspberry is so skewed because of jams. Yeah, I had some raspberry jam yesterday that had rose in it. And I love fresh raspberries. And I actually like raspberry jam normally as well, but it just had a totally different taste to me that I didn't particularly enjoy. And I don't like strawberry jam, but I love strawberries. Yes, I'd say this is a cocktail range. They do also have single origin, but I was trying to include a mix of chocolates that would be fun and delicious and not just all super serious. Although hopefully also delicious, but I didn't want to give you just 8 plain dark chocolates. So for those of you who didn't have alcohol, one of you got one of you got Pump Street's gingerbread chocolate, which was a dark 62%, I think 62. And then 2 of you the person who got a pack on their own, or no one else in that same household had non-alcoholic, got gingerbread, and the person that I sent 2 non-alcoholic ones to, it is an oat milk also with raspberry. So if you tasted raspberry, then you were also right. So the one that we just tried was actually a 65%, so between the 60 and 70 that was guessed by you all. And I will share my screen so you can see what the packaging looks like, although I didn't take a photo of it before I opened it, unfortunately. So this is from Peru, which I didn't mention, from Cusco. So this is the San Blas region of Cusco, so Cusco being near Machu Picchu. And all of the farms that they buy their cocoa beans from are pretty much run by women, which is quite cool, and the company's run by women. And the Laura, who is the one on the left in the picture, is living in London, and she's kind of helping out with the business. And Magalé on the right, she's the chocolate maker, and her husband is an artist. So they have, I'll send you the link to their website, but they have incredible, a tradition of ceramic art in that region. And so they've taken those and made chocolate molds out of them. So there's really beautiful products that they do, but yeah, they have really interesting chocolates, and they've won some awards for their single origins as well. I'm not sure if they've submitted these ones for awards or not, but yeah. Lovely people, really enjoyed their chocolate. Okay, any more questions before final chocolate? Very appropriate for International Women's Day, yes. So final chocolate. I don't know if let me see if the chocolatier is on the call. Can't see if they are or not. This final chocolate was, I thought, quite interesting. It tastes a bit different now to when I tasted it at the show. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. Very fudge-like and buttery. Smells like yogurt. Yes, it does. Or yogurt for my North American friends. I don't think there's any Australians on the call, but strawberry cheesecake. It's like a biscuit. Freeze-dried strawberry somehow. Yes. And graham crackers. Biscuity. I love how you're all saying very similar things. Like a fudge, yeah. So the texture is quite different. I was hoping that Zara would be on the call, but if you're here, Zara, please shout. No. It does really feels like a biscuit and strawberry cheesecake. An unusual texture. So this is still bean to bar chocolate, even though it's white chocolate. Interesting you say caramelized blonde chocolate. So this chocolate, oh wow, look how tiny it is. How am I supposed to read that? Oh, too old for this. Probably need to get my eyes tested. Okay, so, it's fine. The ingredients are on the white strip. I'll read out the ingredients to you because I think that'll be interesting. So the business is called Zachus. So Zara Hudson, that's kind of a content super name. I'll switch to the screen in a second, and I'll show you a picture of Zara while I read it out. Share screen. The pinkish one. So it is called strawberries and cream. Didn't tell you were right. There you go, strawberries and cream. You're all correct. So it actually has candied strawberries in it, which I hadn't experienced for a long time. Where she's kind of cooked the strawberries with sugar and then dried them. So that's what the pieces, I tried to cut it so you all got some of the pieces of the candied strawberries, which I just thought were really interesting, as well as there actually being strawberry powder in the chocolate. So for those of you who were not familiar, I didn't cover it at the beginning, but in the grinding process of grinding down the cocoa nibs to make a nice smooth chocolate, is also where you add sugar. And if you're making a milk chocolate, that's also where you add milk powder. And it's also where you might, if you're making a flavored chocolate, add like a dehydrated fruit or coffee or hazelnuts or some other kind of anything that you want to get completely smooth into the chocolate. You could have also, of course, add kind of coffee granules afterwards and have a gritty coffee texture to your coffee chocolate bar, or sprinkle dried fruit on the outside. But if you want to get something going all the way through, then you'll add it during the grinding process. So yes, I was going to read the ingredients. It is organic cacao butter, organic date sugar. So this has no cane sugar in it. It is just dates. And this is all of her chocolate bars are made with date sugar. So it's dates that are then blended basically into a powder. Then skim milk powder, clarified butter, so ghee. Did I mention that her business is in Pakistan? Freeze-dried strawberries, organic vanilla beans, organic sunflower lecithin, and then candied strawberries, which are the inclusion. So quite interesting. I'll stop the sharing so I can read your chat again. I wouldn't have thought it was chocolate if you didn't know. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's cool. That's interesting. You guessed the ghee. So yogurt taste fudge. I don't think it actually says. Doesn't say the cocoa percentage, which is unusual. normally it would say. So this actually, sorry, I lied. It's made in Kenya, not in Pakistan. But she does sell in Pakistan. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's a grainy consistency. I think that's from the date sugar. I don't know if it's, yeah, I'm not. Hands behind the first few things. Yeah, it's so easy to eat white milk chocolate. Yeah, I don't know where the biscuity flavor is coming from, but it just with that texture, it kind of feels like it has like ground up biscuits in it. I wonder if it's a texture that leads us to be thinking of the biscuits, or yeah. I don't know. Yeah, most of what I should have said at the beginning is almost not. I don't think. Not sure that any of the bars actually said that they were organic, but almost all of them, when I spoke to them and read the details about them, they are almost all organic, but it's not usually that common for craft farmers who grow for craft chocolate makers to have an organic certification, just because of the cost of it and the hoops that you have to jump through. So they generally have organic practices, but they don't always have the certification. But that was one that was organic cocoa butter, and the milk is not currently certified. So can you buy these chocolates in the UK? Nope. Sorry, but I know that they all would like to sell in the UK. So I will send you links to all of the businesses. So some of them have other chocolate that they sell in the UK, like you can get some of other Mark's chocolates. That was the 2 Mexican bars that we had. They are available in the UK, but can we set a petition as a group? Yeah, I would say I'll send you the details of them all, and so you can message them and ask them where, if they can let you know when they are being sold in the UK, or if they'll just bring you a batch the next time they travel through. And if you know of any places that you think might stock them, then feel free to be the conduit. And it's the same with North America as well. I think they're as unavailable in the US and Canada as they are in the UK. Any tips on buying ethical chocolate? Oh, I would say that if a business is brazenly putting a certification on their bar of chocolate, that's probably not the most ethical chocolate that you could buy. Yeah, but if you were to look, so when I send you a link to all of these chocolate makers, if you have a look at any of their websites and see the things that they talk about, you'll get a feel for the fact that they are working closely with farmers. So on Oreo's website, it says that they pay a 10 to 15% premium above the kind of basic price, like at a minimum for their chocolate. But then on top of that, they also provide additional services, and that's the same thing that Leslie does for his 3 Mountains cocoa in Ghana. The Brazilian chocolate companies, they own the farms, and I think it's the same for the raspberry vodka chocolate that we tried as well, which is Contiti, that business. So yeah, it's the more you look at their website, usually you'll get a feel for whether they're actually paying more. And for me, that's and what other work they're doing to help kind of sustain their livelihoods, rather than these big certifications are things that the Cadbury's and Nestle's and so on of the world spending money on to try and get a halo effect of making it look like they care about the supply chain. And maybe they care, but not enough to actually hurt their profits too much. It's no such thing as too much chocolate, I don't think. I find like I've just finished listening to a book called The Dorito Effect, and it's talking about flavor and natural flavorings, and how we've confused our brain and our body by eating a lot of food that has added flavors. But if you're having really good quality chocolate, like it signals to your body the things that are in chocolate that we need. And so like we should be eating more foods that have great flavor on their own, without needing any flavors added to them. And that's the beauty of really good quality chocolate, is that it doesn't need vanilla and other fake flavorings, which might still be called natural flavorings, to make it taste okay. Bulk cocoa that goes into the confectionery kind of does, because it was bred for volume, for yield, and for resistance to disease. And we have a lot of that, unfortunately, with fruits and vegetables as well. There's a movement away from that. It's a lot worse in the US than it is here, in terms of, tomatoes that taste of nothing just because they don't go rotten as quickly. But yeah, the more food that we can eat that doesn't have flavorings added to it, the less likely we are to eat more than we need, because there's like a nutritional intelligence in our body that tells us like that we're getting the food, the nutrients and things that we need. And because chocolate has so many of the vitamins and minerals that we need, it's quite satiating. So to have a couple of squares of chocolate before you have your dinner, apparently you eat less. So that's what like clinical studies have shown, scientific studies, I don't know if they're clinical. Yeah, so eat more chocolate. That's the short version of what I was talking about. The name of the book, which book? Oh, The Dorito Effect, sorry. For some reason I was thinking of a chocolate book. If you read Ultra Processed People, which is also really interesting, there's not a lot of overlap, but they're quite complementary. I think Ultra Processed People had more content that was interesting. The Dorito Effect was a lot of repeating, but yeah, Ultra Processed was great too. I think, yeah, slightly better, but the Dorito Effect is fascinating. Fair trade is a gimmick. Yes, there you go. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, 6 to 7 times the price of fair trade. So fair trade is, yeah, a tiny premium, and a lot of it just goes to admin. And yeah, like Mark, the great chocolate makers are paying, yeah, 2 to 10 times the price. Can I recommend some good bars we can get in the UK? Yes, I might do that over email if that's right. But obviously Dormouse and J Cocoa, who are hopefully on the call. Excellent chocolate from both of them, 2 of my favorite makers. The Chocolate Tree in Scotland as well. Tosier, Chocolada down in Cornwall. Anyone want to chip in? Hi, Karen. Yeah, so great chocolate mix. So Kiki, thank you. Yeah, my brain's going. Pump Street, of course, as well. Fire Tree, yes, thank you. All great makers. Thank you. Yes, I'll put them all in a list. Duffy, yes, sorry, just Bare Bones, another excellent maker. You guys are great, thank you. I actually do have a list. I can send you a link to a page on my website which has all of these makers. Yeah, because there's a couple more. And I really like the cocoa in London as well. And London Chocolate make excellent chocolate as well. Does anyone have any final questions? Favorite of them in the crack. Cool. Oh, I'm so pleased you like them. I was so excited to share them with you. I just liked, for me, they were a nice range of different stories and different tastes and things. So hopefully that was the same for all of you. But, I really appreciate you joining, trusting me. Yeah, if you have any feedback, in case I ever do it again, let me know. Yes, and thank you, Anne. Yeah, Cocoa Runners have got a great range as well. I did try to make sure so Cocoa Runners don't have any of these chocolates though. But like I said, they do have some of the other makers, and they might be taking on some of the other ones as well. Cool. Yeah, I can't believe the last one was 2 years ago when I was like opening up to like create the sheets and things. I was like, oh, long time. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm happy to hang around for a bit if you have any questions, but feel free to slip away if you need to leave. And my apologies if your sleep is disrupted from eating chocolate and sugar before bed. But if you haven't finished them all, and hopefully you did resist eating all of them as we went, do either go back now and try some of them again and see if the notes you have are different, or you can save them for tomorrow and try them again in perhaps a different order and see what you think. But yeah, I'm going to say, but just in case you want to leave, I'm just going to say thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here, and hopefully I'll see you at another tasting or another event. I'm doing a croissant podcast in London on the 23rd, which should be similarly geeky, so excited about it as well. There's so many different ways, like you can make croissants and make them taste different. So maybe I'll see you at that. Thank you.